COVID, COVID-19, COVID-19.
I'm Paul Leacock. I am privileged to be the pastor of the First Baptist Church, a church that I grew up in actually. I'm one of 11, and from the time that I know myself, my mother and father traversed from the Bay Land and brought us to this church. I remember vivid images of us walking like ducklings in a line and coming here to First Baptist. My father was a deacon, my mother deaconess, God bless them of sacred memory, and I am in a very privileged position because having grown up here and then growing up, going to work, traveling abroad for study, England and then the United States, where I did most of my theological training, I was privileged to be called by my home church to come back home to be pastor. COVID-19 has definitely made a significant impact in our lives, and in terms of coming aware of it, all of us are exposed to U.S. media, and before it was declared a pandemic, we saw the reports on this that were coming in, and looking at what impact it may have in Barbados and how we should consider a response to it. It increasingly became clear to me that this was going to be a really serious and in some cases potentially devastating event in the lives of Barbadians. But you know, when you lose something, it becomes precious. The fact that you couldn't visit relatives, the fact that you could not embrace people openly, freely, the fact that elders were more or less isolated, whether they were ill or not, it brought home the significance of family. There's some of us that work tirelessly, too hard, too long, too much, and fathers got to be at home with their children. I believe some people miss heart attacks, miss strokes, and miss some other problems that could have occurred had they continued driving themselves to the degree. But you were able now to sleep in, you were able now to eat together, to be together. And therefore I think that COVID-19, like most tragedies, causes us to determine what matters most. I would say one of the blessings that we have also seen are those who have given themselves in service, many of the nurses particularly, and other medical doctors who put themselves and their families on the line to serve. And it was amazing the sacrifice that they made to be able to serve us. I think they need to be truly applauded. But in addition to them, there are people in the Defense Force, people at the QEH that held things together, the ambulance crew, police that I believe many times work 24 hours round the clock trying to maintain law and order. So all of those persons, some of whom are members of the church. There's no doubt that there has been a strong and significant impact that this pandemic has leveled on everyone, the world over, but particularly in Barbados. It was devastating to hear that churches were closed. You couldn't baptize. You couldn't teach Sunday school. You couldn't have communion. You couldn't pass a Bible. You couldn't pass a hymn book. You couldn't pass the offering plate. Psalm 91 became the psalm of the season. You know? Psalm 91, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. And it goes on to share, people may fall here, people may fall there, the plague will not come near your dwelling. And therefore, we were ready to say, we can take care of this. So there was a greater demand on you as pastor, speaker, teacher, and you still have to deliver the word of God. You still have to make sure that the flock are fed and taken care of.
COVID.
You know, there's been a thrust, and everybody's been saying, well, when we get back to normal, you know, we can't wait till this is over to go back to normalcy and those kinds of things. But I think that's I think we need to divorce ourselves from thinking that we can go back to what we know before. Christians must divorce themselves of the thought that technology belongs to the world and only this blessed sacred book belongs to us. We could only do it one way, preaching from a pulpit. Absolutely not. Every platform that is available must be used and brought to subjected to the work of Christ. So whether we are streaming, whether it's by social media platforms, if we have to harness the internet, we need to think about how do we get this gospel out. And that type of thinking will drive the innovation. And we may be able to come up with methods that we didn't think about before. I'm excited about what the church is going to do to get the gospel out in spite of whatever hurdles we've got to climb. And trust me, the church has been climbing hurdles for 2,000 years.
COVID-19. COVID-19. What can I do? What can I do? I'll sing for you. I'll sing for you. What can you got a COVID-19? Let me sing for you. I'll sing for you. Let me sing for you. I'll sing for you.